you appreciate how silly it is? You have this woman standing here. I grew up 5 miles from here. I lived in this city long before she was born, and probably before you were born. And somehow,
You realize that
somehow that's a problem that I shouldn't walk by. I mean, do you know what I give my charity to? Do you know my politics? Do you know anything about me? Of course you don't.
if you do not take a moment every day to be thankful and to reflect on how much different and how much harder your life would have been had you been born a black man or one of the descendants of the people who built our
was
trillion.
a refugee from Nazi Germany. I don't think our lives are so simple as
Do you believe that you are somehow a victim of that situation?
I think that that's a victimhood that you don't necessarily see. I think there's a victimhood that you don't necessarily see, which rings through generations in terms of.
So what about the generations of the people who were subjected to an African Holocaust? Do you believe the Jewish Holocaust was worse than what has happened?
That I'm not on your side on that issue because I'm white.
Sure.
But you don't have any evidence one way or another, and then I walk by and you say, well, you're white, you must be. You don't know the first thing about me. You don't know the first thing about me. I stopped because there was a Hamas.
You're not supposed to get offended by someone pointing out that you have a privilege in this country and the world at large.
As a starter of a conversation, it was meant as a form of ridicule by someone who's standing up there who doesn't know the first thing about anything. Right? You don't know anything
Are you saying that she doesn't know the first thing about it?
Because she made an assumption about me, the same as if I were to look at someone who's black and make an assumption because they're black, and you would say,
like
well, that's
that you
that's
had
really
everything
unfair.
handed to you on a silver platter as
You think I
opposed
had
to them?
everything handed to me on a silver platter? How do you know that?
When the comparison is between any other group of men and black men, yes,
Really?
that's
Okay, and
there is no.
I don't think you're at liberty. I mean, you can say whatever you want. This is the United States, but I don't think you have any insight into my life, your life, his life. But I do know that if you stand and if your opening gambit is you're a white man, you know, you're a piece of shit, you should be saying thank you for the fact that you can walk this earth. It's not a way to start a conversation. It's certainly not a way to learn anything. If you want to learn
that
something from somebody, you talk to them.
You're protesting a protest for the lives of
I'm
innocent people dying, 30% of which are women and children.
The Hamas bandana and the Hezbollah bandana. I'm not opposed to the issue. Hold on.
Organization.
Hezbollah is not a terrorist.
It is the conservative conservative party in Lebanon.
Your parents.
Why is America allowed to give billions to Saudi Arabia?
Hold on a second.
And continue.
Hold on a second. Have you read Hezbollah's charter? Have you read what they stand for? No, but you said they're not a terrorist organization. I'm asking you, have you taken the time to read what their official position is? And the same for Hamas. Read it, and then decide for yourself if you think it's a terrorist organization or not.
They're not obviously like angels, but at the same time, do you think the government that is bombing children and women, do you think that's any better? I mean, how could you like compare the two?
First of all, nobody is. Look, there's a rabbit hole of a conversation there about who's bombing what intentionally and what do you have to do in the time of war to defend yourself. You asked me why I stopped to let me finish something. What do you know about World War II? What do you know about Dresden? What happened in Dresden? What happened in Dresden?
I know.
Do you know what happened? Well, I'm not saying two wrongs make a right. I'm saying that in times of war, there's collateral damage, which is different.
I'm Jewish as well.
Which is different.
What Israel's doing is disgusting. The Israeli government specifically. The most advanced army in the world, and they're acting with no precision.
The most advanced army in the world is
No,
America.
not advanced. Not advanced. Most technologically.
I can't talk about you.
How is it a war when one side, the death toll on one side is 1,200 and that was one day versus 43,000 plus?
Law, the concept of proportional force.
Israel's not following any international laws.
You're interrupting me. Let me finish my sentence. The concept of proportionality refers to the idea that the value of collateral damage relative to the value of what it is that you attack.
I get what you're
Nobody
saying.
says that in a war, let me finish. You want to have a conversation? Let me finish.
Decimated the entirety
Shame on you. With the like working with all these men?
3 people.
What's it like?
You
What's it like
can't
in
you
the
can't
market?
compare October 7th to
October
the past
7th.
7 months
Tell
of
me how
What kind
destruction.
of
October 7th
respectable woman works for all
How did
these
it
men?
start? Yeah, I will admit,
How
because
did, no,
Hamas
it's not a
went
question of
into
admitting, it's a fact. How did it start?
Hamas went into Israel.
5,000 people.
But before that, it was not
How
Hamas
did
that
it
started.
start?
Are y'all lying? Are y'all
Population of people who've been under siege and
Levant is so old.
And murdered people.
So old.
And kidnapped people, right? That's how it started.
When you make an entire area a ghetto, basically, and then you remove their rights for food,
Do you
electricity.
feel that the siege and
No,
blockade of
What happened in 2006?
The Israeli army unilaterally withdrew from Gaza and
They
gave it
withdrew, but
gave
they
it
still are
They
under
withdrew
military-
when they had
hold
the
on, and I'm old enough to remember this, and you're probably not. They gave
matter.
the territory to the Palestinian Authority. Within a year or two, there was an election. Hamas
See,
won,
you can't say
kicked
election.
out.
That is not, no. There was it's not, why are our elections any more legitimate
Oh.
than the ones that
Because
the Palestinian
Hamas took
people
power
carried out?
by
But
guns.
Hamas won.
And there hasn't been.
No, Hamas ran a campaign on armed
Are you
resistance,
aware?
and the people
Are you-
said, yes, we stand
Oh, they
with
did.
this
So the
because we're tired of
Palestinians
the
do
tyranny.
support. So
That's
they do
not true.
support it.
That's not
Okay,
no.
Well, that's good to know.
It's 60% of the Palestinians do not support Hamas.
Oh, well, it sounds like the
No,
majority did. I don't actually think that that's what happened. I think
6 out of 10.
The Israeli
I
military and
think
Israeli
what happened
government has
in
massacred 70% women and children
Okay.
while being one of the most advanced armies in the world. That is unacceptable as a Jewish American. I am telling you
it could be
this.
unacceptable as a Chinese
Unacceptable.
American.
Yes.
The fact that you're Jewish doesn't strengthen or weaken your argument.
You made
But what
that as
happened
part of
in
your
Chi-
argument. That's why I'm claiming it.
I didn't
I'm
make.
contrasting
What did
it
I
to you.
say?
That your
What do you think I
grandparents
said?
survived
No,
the
she
Holocaust,
was saying,
right?
She was
No, you
saying it's
mentioned
like
that
the
before.
Nazis, and I said, that, what do you know? I mean, you're talking to me
I
about
do
my...
classified as a
believe that, but I
genocide.
haven't
No, which
said
is
that once.
No,
classified as a
you're
genocide.
right. You know what
I
it was?
didn't
You're
trot
right. My
that out.
You
mistake.
said which
My
one is
mistake.
worse.
No,
You
my
know which
mistake.
one's worse?
No,
Neither.
No.
Letting people
no,
coexist and
that's not
having a
what happened.
civilization
That's
that
not
knows
what
how to
happened.
talk to one another.
What happened is
That
you
is what's
said,
worth it.
I
My
don't think
life,
it's right to be
my life is
comparing
is
two
with
different
privilege that I didn't have
It doesn't
my
matter. They're both
difficult
wrong. Like,
existence,
what's his
this and
point?
that. And what I said was, I don't necessarily think
It's like,
we know
what is
about
this
our
supposed to be, like, a
background
battle
or
of
what it
what's
was like
more
to be a
genocidal,
survivor.
what's
I
worse?
don't believe
It's just
anyone to
stupid.
have had a hard time in America compared to black people. It's
But
just not the
how
same.
did this conversation? First of all, I'm with
Because
you
I
on that
bring,
issue. First of all, I am
I
with you
bring
on-
every
with-
conversation there
I am
because it
with-
should be talked about all
But
the
this
time.
is not about. This is not a protest that has anything to do with African Americans. This is a protest against.
Zionism is very
Colombian-
oppressive to African Americans
No,
as
it's
well.
actually not.
How do you
Yes,
know
it
that?
is.
I know that. How so? Tell me. In what way?
Zionists
And I said, well, you can go back in time and find the
Oh,
worst
do they?
genocide.
See, that is a racist canard.
No, it's not.
Zionists don't
More
control.
money begets
We don't
more
want our
power.
grandkids
and
fighting these same wars.
No, that's
in
just
terms of-
no. This is where you cross the line from anti-Israel
No.
to anti-Semitism.
That's where you have to separate.
Jews don't control the world. Jews don't control
She never
the
said
bank.
that. She
Jews
never
don't
said
control-
that. She never
Some
just said
very
that.
nefarious ones have a lot of power.
Some very
A
nefarious
Jewish
Christians,
rapist
Muslims,
ran
and
all
others.
of Hollywood for my entire adult
Not
life.
as a Jew.
But see, the thing
He
I
ran
find
it
about-
as a person.
But that's not
That's
no.
not-
That
it's
but
a
Harvey
Harvey
Weinstein's
Weinstein
connections in the
does-
Jewish community are he was a very celebrated.
No.
Very
no,
very.
No, that's an anti-Semitic point
It's
of
not
view.
anti-Semitic. It happens across all classes and all religions.
It's called Zionism, and Zionism is not tied to Judaism. It's a way of being.
But I would also argue
Uh,
everyone who goes to Harvard together has common interests and organically, innately, they go for their own interests, no matter what. Same happens with the Jewish
I don't know.
community, especially because we were
There's
persecuted
a
and so we're
difference-
extra
There's a
tight
difference
knit.
between saying that you have solidarity for your group and saying that Jews control anything as Jews.
She never said
Oh, who said that?
to say that they don't control
She
anything.
said-
There are people who are Jewish that control.
There are
certain
people
aspects.
who are Zionists,
So
who are
Christians
staunch
control everything
supporters
too,
of
then, right?
Israel,
There are a lot
who
of
are
Christian
in
people who
positions
control-
of power.
Yeah,
So, I
same
mean,
thing.
impact.
So what?
As an example.
There's people in positions of power who are on the other side of that issue.
It's about how you
No,
get to that.
no,
It's about how you
no.
get to that, sir, for all
The
due
Yeah, but
amount
it's
of
not-
respect.
power and money that
Israel
is
is the only
concentrated
the only
in a
country
group
that is committing an ethnic
pro-Israel
cleansing.
Zionists.
Well, and that we allow to buy our Congress.
No, I think
don't
that
think
we get 30
objective-
billion
It is illegal for
objectively,
foreign governments to
that is a
invest
classic
in our Congress,
anti-Semitic
in our
trope.
political
Jews
system,
have money,
and it's
Jews
the
have
only
power.
one that gets an exception.
I was made to think that for most of my life, and then I discovered these facts.